On this video, I'm going to talk to you about five myths that people perpetuate into our society. Number one, the first myth is that religion has caused more deaths in the world. That's false. It's actually atheism, and I'll prove it to you. By the way, if you go down below here where it says shockcanal.net, you click Shock Radio, you can hear the shocking statistics how atheism has caused more deaths in the world than anything, than religion. So one myth is that religion has caused all the deaths in the world. That's false. That is inaccurate. The deaths that have been caused under atheistic communist regimes far exceed deaths caused by religion such as Islam, etc. So that's the first myth, that, you know, the number one thing that causes death is religion. It's actually atheism. And you can listen to my radio show down here that we did on evolution if you go to shockcanal.net, and you can hear all the statistics if I run out of time here. The second thing is that Jesus Christ never claimed to be the Son of God. We'll talk about that. The third thing is that atheism is just a lack of belief in God. That's a myth. It is anti-God and hostility towards God. We all know it. Take a look around here on YouTube. Some of the people that talk about God the most are atheists, except they're talking about him with their middle finger in the video, cussing out God. You know, there's all types of... So that's another myth. Atheism is hostility towards God and rebellion towards God. It's not non-belief towards God. Another myth is that there's all types of proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct. We know, and you're going to see an annotation at the end of this video where you can hear me challenging 4 atheists on live radio. I called into the radio show and I told them to provide proof and evidence that atheism was accurate and correct. They failed miserably on live radio. Proof is and evidence of atheism isn't worth the value of a bucket of spit or another bucket that rhymes like that. So that's the fourth myth, that you know, atheism has all this proof and evidence. Now the fifth myth is evolution. If you go down here to shockcanal.net and you click Shock Radio, the top radio show that pops up, we go through over 30 different errors and lies of evolution. Now I want you guys to know something. Before the radio show, I had all types of evolutionists calling up. Let's see if this truck hits me. And they're like, well, I'm going to take notes and I'm going to go ahead and tell you about all your errors. Not one evolutionist has emailed me any errors on that show. Not one. I told you. I told you that evolution is an error. Or fully errored. Over 30 errors just we did in less than 2 hours going through it. So let's go through the myths, since we're about 3 minutes and 30 seconds into it. I have an article here. Let me get it. Google and China square off over internet. Now, China is an atheistic state-run government. Now, the atheists are going to tell you, no, it's not and stuff. But do the research. They're officially atheist. However, the good people of China, this is not a reflection on the good people of China. The Christian church is exploding over there, even faster than the state-run churches. China is arresting Christians, beating them up, putting them in forced labor camps, and this is because they are atheistic in government. See, atheism is not a neutral position or a non-belief. It is a hostility towards and against Christianity. We all know it. It's hostile towards it. This is why you can go on YouTube and you can see so many hateful videos against God. You got Pat Condell saying Jesus was a homosexual. I mean, you can go all over the place. I don't want to even plug their channels, but it is a hostility towards God. Now, when you go here and you go to shockcanal.net, you'll see a big image there that says Shock Radio. And what you can do is you click that image and it takes you to our radio show, and I go through the countless murders and deaths that atheism has caused just within the past 100 years, and they pass up the deaths that religion has caused. You will not believe the deaths and the murders that atheism has caused under these atheistic communist regimes. So for those of you that hear the myth that most non-believers will say, well, religion is the cause of all deaths in the world, the reason why they're saying it is they are educated that atheism is the #1 cause of deaths in the world. So they're trying to get you off focus of the fact that there have been more deaths under the flag of atheism than religion. Another thing that they do, and you're going to see at the very end of this, you're going to see an annotation pop up. Now, by the way, I used to be an atheist, you guys, so I'm not talking from ignorance. Atheism, trust me, it is anti-God. It is hostility towards God. It is anger towards God. It is rebellion towards God. And it does not deserve respect. Atheism deserves to be ridiculed. It does. Now, let me prove it to you. I went ahead and I called up a radio show. You know, like the Atheist Experience radio shows where you can call up and there's like a guy there, that'll answer questions and you could debate with them. Well, there's this one show, and I couldn't believe it. The guy said on the show that you have to have proof and evidence for your position. Well, atheism is a position. So I called up and I said, well, what's your proof and evidence that atheism is acting correct? They panicked in terror on the radio show. They started getting so scared because they were bombing on the radio show, because there is no proof and evidence. This is one of the myths, one of the 5 myths that are perpetuated in society. They panicked so bad that, I'm not making this up, it's absolutely hilarious. One of the guys started basically almost yelling at me saying, prove your favorite ice cream isn't vanilla. Prove it! You know, it was madness. Another guy said that, and I'm not making this up, you guys, when you hear this, you'll hear the madness of atheism. He was saying he had a unicorn in his pocket. I'm not kidding you. Another guy, of course, because they have Santa syndrome, brought up Santa Claus. So these are the 5 myths that are perpetuated through our society, and they're all lies. The #1 myth is that religion has caused more deaths. No, atheism has caused more deaths. Go to my show right here and I go through all the different atheistic governments. You know, atheism is linked to communism. We all know that. Stalin, Mao, China. Do you know Google right now, check this out, Google is having a problem with the atheist government of China. Type in Google and China internet. It appears that China has been trying to hack into Google servers. Google even said they can't prove it, but they said this is not just some like hacker, amateur hacker. It is a highly sophisticated attack on Google servers, and they're trying to find out, Google traced what they're trying to find out, and they're trying to find out who the human rights activists are in China. So this atheistic government in China is trying to track down these human rights activists, Christians that want freedom in China, the good people of China, God bless them. So these are 5 myths in our society. You guys that are in the Christian community, when you hear someone say these myths, like #1, more deaths have caused under religion, you need to tell them, no, it's atheism. And point them to this show right here at shockandell.net, Shock Radio. #2, when they say evolution is correct, you need to point them to that radio show, and they can hear all the over 30 errors we went through just within the span of less than 2 hours. When they say Jesus Christ wasn't the Son of God, they asked Jesus, are you the Messiah, the Son of God? He said he was. It's another myth. When atheism says that it's just a non-belief in God, that is a myth. It is a hatred of God. It is a hostility towards God. It is anti-God. And most of all, and here's the annotation, click it, when they say that they have proof and evidence that atheism is right, that is accurate and correct, they don't. It is faith, ladies and gentlemen. The madness of atheism, click the annotation, is that it is faith in nothing. Now listen to me calling the show and prove the madness.